You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit in current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest and repeat offender, Sarah Perkins. Blue Water Credit is with us. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we're celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. This is a good one, Josh. I like this. National Spanish Paella Day. Where do you get good Spanish paella? I love paella, especially if it's a seafood paella. I like paella. And Little Red Wagon Day. That's kind of dating ourselves with the Little Red Wagons. Mine is actually green now. I don't know if you have these green wagons and they fold up so they fit in the back of your car. You can take them out to the park. I just saw a new one. I might have to buy this one, although the bride might not like it too much. It's actually a wagon, and one side, so it's a collapsible wagon like these newer ones are, and then one side of it actually folds down so you can sit in it like it's a couch. Think about that one. I like that. I'm not sure it'll hold my size, but you know something. They're made to be disposable. I just throw that out there. Today, I don't know if you did this one, Josh. It could cause me some serious trouble. Today's National Joe Day. Really? Of course, you know, Joe might not know. The image that we have says, "Hello, my name is Joe." And I'm not getting political, but I think the president might need somebody to put that on his shirt so he knows what his name is. I don't know if you heard him yesterday talking a little bit about the bridge that was went down in Baltimore. Tragic story. We don't want to make light of the loss of life. I mean, it feels horrible for anybody who lost a family member there or knows someone who lost a family member there. But did you hear the president's comments on this one? He took that bridge many, many times going back and forth to Delaware by car and by train. The only problem is there's no train tracks on that bridge. So I'm not sure what train he took across that bridge. But we're going to see a lot of havoc coming from that bridge, the loss there, just because huge amount of commerce went through there. I just saw a story earlier today. 850,000 vehicles a year came in on the ships through that port. 850,000 vehicles. Think that'll have anything to do with inflation going up? And we know the Federal Reserve has been watching inflation dramatically. So, and we're going to get their favorite report on inflation on Friday. Now, I'm going to share this with you. We'll talk more about it in the Mortgage Minute, but the bond market, the stock market is all closed for Good Friday. Yet we're going to get some financial reports. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes over when the markets open on Monday. And just be aware, because we saw this full living proof yesterday. Whatever you do, if you want real news, do not ever listen to NBC. They actually came out and proved my point yesterday. Now, I don't know whether you like Ronna McDaniel or not. Doesn't matter. But they decided because she worked for President Trump, she worked for the RNC, and she's an election denier, that the on-air talent revolted against her. Now, you don't want somebody with an opposing voice on a news broadcast, really? Does that tell you there's no news there? It's all commentary and it's all one way? Because we do know that there were many, many election deniers when President Trump was elected. Hello, Hillary Clinton. There was many, many election deniers when George W. Bush was elected. So this isn't anything new, but I guess you're not allowed to have an opposing voice if you're on NBC News or MSNBC Hee-Haw or any of those stations. And they still have Diana Olick on CNBC. We're now into our 12th year of waiting for Diana Olick to have something accurate to share on with regard to housing. 12 years. So eventually she'll give us something that's accurate, and it will be the first time. Let's move right along, see what the markets are doing today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average up 268 points. The S&P 500 is up 19. The NASDAQ is up. Well, now it's down 3.5. Interesting watching some of these things. Have you been following at all the stock DJT, Donald J. Trump? That's his Trump Media, up another 18.8% today. He owns 58% of the stock. So his net worth has gone up just on his stock holdings by 18.8% more today. He'll need it, though, because gas prices are now in California over $5 a gallon, $5.01 a gallon. Josh is at $4.36. Take off a half a dollar for the legitimate price if you're in a big city. And my loan assistant area, and $3.09 a gallon in Mississippi. Think about it, $3.09, and we're paying $5.01 in California. Unbelievable. Let's get into some other news today. Hey, did you see this one? I don't know if you caught this. It's up for sale right now. You can check it out. Hey, Dave Silva, glad you're with us. I want to let you know if you need a new house, Judy Garland's house is up for sale. I just saw this come across the wires. So her property, she bought it in 1938. And Dave, I know you do your pop or flop or pick and up and down. I forgot the name of it. But 1938 is when she bought this house, when she signed her contract to do Wizard of Oz. Up for sale right now. Now, a house that she bought in 1938. I don't know when it was built, but it's for sale right now, $11.5 million. What is the cost for upkeep or remodernizing a house that was built in 1938? Do you think it may need to have the plumbing redone? Maybe a little electrical work? I don't know. Did they have toilets back then, or was it an outhouse? I'm not sure. $11.5 million. You probably get toilets with it. I'm just guessing on that one, but I'm thinking that that's probably the case, especially being that it tells me in the notes, 5,500 square feet, 5 ensuite bedrooms, 6.5 baths, meticulously updated. It still retains many of the 1930s classic old Hollywood features, such as a curved staircase and iron railing from the entry foyer to the second floor. I was talking to Sarah Perkins before the broadcast. Don't think there's any elevators in there, Sarah. I'm just throwing that out. And for somebody like me with bad knees, maybe I couldn't go stay there. I guess I'll have to back burner that purchase. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, everything you needed to know. Well, at least that we can fit into our broadcast about credit. Sarah Perkins is with us. Single women are embracing home ownership. We'll talk about that, see where that's all about. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number is 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is, you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit ronsiegelradio.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less? All without having to spend more each month than you spend right now. Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at RonIsMyLender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. RonIsMyLender.com.
Hey there, friends. Wondering if now is the right time to buy a home? Or are you waiting for a bunch of foreclosures? The facts speak loud and clear. Defaults and foreclosures are down. Sure, we might be headed towards a recession. But did you know interest rates typically drop and real estate values often go up during a recession? So what are you waiting for? Higher prices or higher payments? Don't navigate these waters alone. Connect with RonSiegelRadio.com today. That's RonSiegelRadio.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OB, MMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. What did rates do yesterday? 30-year conforming conventional loans down 6.764. Jumbo loans down 7.046. FHA loans, they were up 6.614. USDA loans, they were down 6.617, and the best loan on the market for those that earned it. And we thank you every day, our veterans, the 30-year VA loan, 6.399. If you want our market commentary, we do put that out each morning. Costs you absolutely nothing. It depends on what time the data comes out as to what time we get the market report out. Go to rsrmarketminute.com, rsrmarketminute.com, and you can get that report each and every morning, again, as early as the data allows. What's happening today in the markets? And I'm going to tell you, it's going to get a little volatile in the next couple of days. So we're watching that very, very closely. But we're looking at today, the S&P 500 is up 12 as I speak to you. 10-year Treasury down 3 basis points. Mortgage-backed securities are up 7 basis points. Bond up, rates down. Bond's not up that much, so the rates aren't down that much. But that's where the way that works. PCE, that's coming out on Friday. Markets are going to be closed. So what are the headlines going to do? Well, they'll have some effect on what happens on the futures overnight, and we'll actually see what happens on Monday based on the PCE report. This is the Fed's favorite measure of inflation. They want it either, their word from Jerome Powell is they want it confidently, that's his key word, confidently heading towards 2%. But we're going to see maybe the headline numbers stay the same, and we forecast that the core number, which is what they really look at, going up a little bit. Why? Because gas prices have been going up. Oil, we look at the oil numbers, $81. It was down at 70 not too long ago. Now it's $81.45 for the WTI, West Texas Intermediary, which is what they use. Now, they say they take out the gas and food prices for those people that don't eat or use gas or energy into the core. But do they really? Because anything we use, anything we consume has come to wherever we bought it by truck, took gas or diesel to get there. If it's made of any kind of plastic or if it has plastic wrap, well, that's coming from oil prices. So do they really take that out? We'll see. But I have told you before, according to data that we're constantly watching, we are seeing already that, the employment numbers are not good. But that's just what we have to watch. We're going to keep on watching those as it is. That is the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial when you're ready for that next home loan. Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. And we want to welcome to Ron Siegel Radio, your guiding star in the complex universe of home ownership and financial planning. In today's special episode, we're thrilled to have Sarah Perkins, a revered credit education specialist from Blue Water Credit with an impressive track record of over 20 years. Sarah brings a wealth of knowledge in credit restoration and debt resolution. Today, we're going to zero in on what it takes to purchase and finance your dream home, manage outstanding debts efficiently, and lay the groundwork for a prosperous retirement. Get ready for an insightful journey into achieving personal financial security and becoming an extremely exemplary community citizen. Stay tuned, and don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom and making informed financial decisions. Let's talk to Sarah Perkins. Welcome.
Hello. Good to see you again, Ron.
You too. So what's going on in the world of credit? Anything new? Are there any new laws or things like that we need to know about? Or are we still working on trying to understand these things from where we've been?
Yeah, I would say the only thing new out there is the implementation of using FICO 10T and Advantage score probably coming around the corner. It's been something that's been talked about for the last year or two, so two different scoring models, but hasn't gone into effect yet. So we're going to kind of stick with the basics of what we kind of talked about before and improving your score and how to understand it as it is right now.
So explain that just a little bit, what you just said, though. Using FICO 10T, is that what you said?
Yeah. So, because primarily right now for mortgages, they use a scoring model that's FICO 5, 4, and 2. And then there's another model out there called the Vantage score, but 90% of lending decisions are still FICO, but they're trying to make it more fair out there. So they want to come up with they have two new models. They're looking at the 10T and the Vantage 4.0. That's looking a lot more trending data, but there's been some questions about if it's fair or not, what it's looking at. So it's been on the back burner, but from what I understand, in the next year or so, they're going to be rolling out some new models that we're going to have to figure out how to understand.
That's interesting. But haven't they been saying that they're going to roll out these new models for many, many years now?
Yeah, I would say primarily these two. It's been a talk for about 2 years now, but I know something came out about a month ago that, they've had the discussions, they've let people voice their opinions, but from what I understand, it's coming around the corner.
Okay. And so, right now, I think you've shared with us in the past that there's a lot of different FICO models, right? I mean, we've got credit card and auto and mortgage, and I don't even know what else. Is that true?
Yeah. Yes. So I think within FICO itself, there's probably like 20 plus different versions. So, like you said, there's a general version, there's one used for credit cards, there's one used for auto, and one for mortgages. So they all are looking primarily at the same thing, but they do have some variances because it's obviously a lot more risky to purchase a home than a car, or a car is more riskier than a credit card. So mortgage, they're going to look at a lot more history. They are going to not, they're counting paid collections, where some versions, if you have a paid collections, it doesn't exist anymore. So there is some little differences that can cause a variance sometimes of 50 points. So you might think you're looking at the right version, and then you go have a lender pull it and it be 50 points off, and you're trying to understand why.
That's a big issue, because I've been running into that lately, where people have not called Sarah Perkins to take care of their credit issues. They're trying to do it on themselves. And, you can try and do it yourself, but I could try and do knee surgery myself because I need it, and it might not work out real well. The bottom line here, though, is you might be looking at the wrong item, right? Isn't that it?
Yeah. So you might be looking at the different version than what your lender's using. And most of the time, you're only going to see that mortgage score through your lender, or if you go and purchase it from like a site like myfico.com. Most credit monitoring systems are probably just going to give you your general FICO score, or they might even give you a Vantage score, which isn't really used at all. And that can really throw you off and have you focus on the wrong things to fix.
So I don't want to get too specific, but I want to throw this at you. I had somebody just this last week send me a screenshot that came from one of their credit card companies, and it said FICO. It was from Experian, and it said FICO Model 8. And I looked at on our lending team, and we're looking at FICO Model 2.
Yeah, so the FICO 8 is
the same data.
No, so FICO 8 is just your general scoring model, and it's one of those models that doesn't penalize you for like a paid collection. So you might see a higher score if you have paid off collections, where the mortgage score still is penalizing you for those paid collections on your credit report. So that can be a huge thing right there that causes a big difference between the version you're looking at and the version they're looking at.
And what about time? Do they all come off or have the same impact over the same amounts of time, or are they different there?
So as far as how long it can affect your score, you have 7 years that something can be reported on your credit, but different versions may only go back and look at the last 2 years of data, or maybe the last 4 years of data. Mortgage is probably going to really be the one that looks at the whole last 7 years, where FICO 8 might be primarily looking at what you've done in the last 2 years. So even though that blemish is still there, they're not really looking at it, like with a magnifying glass, like they would on your mortgage version.
That's fascinating, because if I understand it correctly, this 10T is supposed to be more of a trending, and something that might have happened 6-7 years ago may not really be indicative of what someone's trend is today.
Correct. And on the other side of that is if you just pay down your credit card to a zero balance, but for the last 2 years, you've kept a high utilization, they're going to look at the behavior and as a whole in the last 2 years. Right now, if you pay it off, you're going to get that jump in points right away, where the trending may look at the behavior of what you've normally done over the last 2 years. So if you've carried high balances primarily for 2 years, just paying it down isn't going to give you possibly the boost that it gives you right now.
Oh, so they're taking away some of our tricks.
I know. We'll see. We'll have to learn a whole new set of tricks, I guess.
So explain this one maybe, because I saw on one of we ran a report for somebody, and it came back saying that they had one of their trade lines had, I think it was like $3,000 was their credit limit. They owed $2,900 and something, and it said pay it down to $10, but don't pay it off.
Yeah, I mean, the idea behind that is you want it between 0 and 10%. Keeping a balance keeps activity on the card, because FICO, if you do not have recent activity, they are no longer going to count that trade line. So by carrying a small balance like the $10, you're still keeping that account active where they can use it in their scoring model.
Gotcha. We're going to continue our conversation with Sarah Perkins, Blue Water Credit. When we come back, you're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. Single women are embracing home ownership. We'll talk about that as well. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments? Paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. And you could potentially qualify for a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket. So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at RonSiegelRadio.com and start owning today. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Single women embracing home ownership. In today's housing market, more and more single women are becoming homeowners, according to data from the National Association of Realtors, NAR. 19% of all home buyers are single women, while only 10% are single men, proving once again the women are smarter than the men. If you're a single woman trying to buy your first home, this should be encouraging. It means other people are making their dreams a reality, so you can too. Why home ownership matters to so many women? For many single women, buying a home isn't just about having a place to live. It's also a smart way to invest for the future. Homes usually increase in value over time, so they're a great way to build equity and overall net worth. Ksenia Potapov, economist at First American, says, quote, single women are increasingly pursuing home ownership and reaping its wealth creation benefits. The financial security and independence home ownership provides can be life-changing. And when you factor in the personal motivations behind buying a home, that impact becomes even clearer. The same report from NAR shows the top reasons single women are buying a home right now, and the reality is they're not all financial. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you're actually seeing a chart. We like showing charts because that shows the data that we're actually using. It gives you that information to figure out. And I might try and get another chart over to Josh real quick here if I can. Sometimes it's hard because we are broadcasting live on Ron Siegel Radio, but it just gives you an idea of some of the data that we have as far as where the value of owning real estate. It's just a fascinating piece of information. Give me 1 second here, Josh. I'm going to try and get you this telegram with this chart and see if you can pop that in for us. But I know we've got this other chart going right now. Let's see if I can get back to where I was looking at. Top reasons to purchase a home. 29% desire to own their own home. 16% desire to be close to loved ones. 12% change in family situation. If any of these reasons resonate with you, maybe it's time for you to buy two. Work with a trusted real estate agent if you're a single woman looking to buy a house. It is possible even in today's housing market. You'll just want to be sure you have a great real estate agent by your side. Talk about what your goals are and why home ownership is so important to you. That way your agent can keep what's critical for you up front as they guide you through the buying process. They'll help you find the right home for your needs and advocate for you during negotiations. That's the key right there. I know you can go and find your own home, Zillow and Trulia and Redfin and all of these other things. They're not the ones that are going to help you in negotiating the transfer. That's what you need the real estate agent for. Not for what they're doing today. It's for the experience that they're bringing. And I want you to take a look and see, because sometimes we talk about these things and you just say, okay, well, Ron says real estate's a good deal. Prove it. Well, we've got a chart to prove it. Josh, do you have that chart there that we've got? Let's take a look at that. Change in home values after 10 years. So if you hold your home for 10 years, and that's what the most people are holding right now, if you look, the only time dating back to 1942, even before my time, the only time before then, or since then, if you held your house over 10 years, only time is 2006 when you didn't have a positive return. Every other time period since 1942, hold your house 10 years, you make money. That is the bottom line. That is the real-time real estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. And hey, remember this, a key ingredient to making money here is making sure that you do a process. So your process needs to be, take a look at your credit first. That's got to be step one. If you don't know what your credit scores are, you may be wasting a lot of your own time. Cleanall3.com, cleanall3.com. You can go there and get a real mortgage FICO score. Cleanall3.com. Yes, you got to pay for it. It's not expensive, but it does cost some money. If your score is below 580, then what you need to do is go to rsrlinks.com/BWC. That will take you to Sarah Perkins and Blue Water Credit. They are our go-to source for many, many years now when people need to have their get credit educated and also see if there are opportunities or strategies to get that score up. Higher your score, lower your interest rate. That's just the way it works. Now, there's a lot of times, and we're going to bring Sarah Perkins in with us. Sarah, it used to be that I laughed when I heard the things, especially on 60 Minutes, where they said that 20% of the credit reports have errors. And I said that I've been looking at credit reports for decades, and I still have not seen one that did not have errors. Now, you look at more than I do. Have you ever seen one that did not have errors?
No, I think that statistic is pretty low. I think most people have some form of an error on their credit report on one of the bureaus out there. So whether it's impacting their score or not is a different question, but there's plenty of errors to be found on credit reports.
Yeah, I've said that the highest I've seen is an 834, and it had, as a layman, I could identify a half a dozen errors at least on that report. So anytime anybody that thinks that they don't have errors on their report, I think you're mistaken. So when we go and start doing some work on credit, Sarah, is it a quick process, slow? I hear people say, well, we can get your score up in 2 weeks. Is that a fallacy, a pipe dream, or are there legitimately strategies for that?
I mean, there are some circumstances where we can get quick fixes done and provide deletion letters that allow you guys as lenders to do rapid rescores. But really the process, you have to give it at least a minimum of 30 to 45 days. And that's just because, most of the reporting that creditors are doing to the bureaus happen only once a month. So there's no way to speed up that process. They are usually have a set date for your credit card account to report any changes. And then you have to give the bureaus then time to then report any changes as well. So there's unfortunately not a way to speed up the process, but we do have some tools out there that can help lenders do a rescore and maybe get some faster results. So you have to be patient with the process.
Yeah, I hear people sometimes will say, well, my score's up 10 points now. When can I get the other 10?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's pretty much, we don't control those things, do we? I mean, it's the reporting institutions.
Correct. And sometimes it can feel super fast because maybe you made the change, a couple of days before the reporting went over to the bureaus. But then next time you make the change and you still have to wait the 30 days for them to make the next update to the bureaus. So again, it's a timing situation because they, like I said, are only reporting once a month. It's usually right after your statement comes out. So you can kind of guesstimate when they're making the reports to the bureaus and kind of time your changes around that.
Now, I've in looking at a lot of the reports that I've seen, I've frequently, I use myfico.com to monitor my wife and my credit. And I'll be honest, I manipulate mine just because I want to see, if I don't make a big payment or if I let my utilization go up or down, I want to see what kind of changes it has. So having no life, I'm probably looking at my score 2 or 3 times a day sometimes because I'll get notifications. Is it still an issue where the statement that they basically report right after the statement closing date?
Yeah, so that's one thing people don't understand, especially those that maybe charge up their card for business and then pay it off each month. And they're wondering why their utilization stays high and why there's a balance always reported on their credit report, where the normal person gets their statement and then will pay the card by the due date. But by that time, it's already been reported to the bureaus. And then you start the whole process over again of using the credit card and then paying it after the statement comes out. So, one little manipulation you can do if you're trying to play the credit score game is know when that statement comes out, make the payment maybe a week prior, or maybe make multiple payments throughout the month. So by the time the statement comes out, the balance is a lot lower than what it normally would be. I mean, you don't always have to do this, but if you are looking for a quick so-called bump in your score, that is one way to kind of manipulate the system.
That's interesting that you said that, Sarah, because obviously I did a segment on that. And anybody that wants to see it can go and see rsrccpayment.com, rsrccpayment, like credit card, ccpayment.com. And I just say, why don't you get in the habit? I mean, a lot of what we do financially is habits, good habits or bad habits. Is there a problem if I have a habit of doing that all the time and going and making those 2 payments?
No, I mean, and you'll probably end up paying less in interest as well, too. So there's nothing wrong with making multiple payments or paying it early. And then you'll always have the benefit of having hopefully a higher credit score because you're keeping that utilization down.
And the fun part is ironically enough, people that have bad credit never talk about it. And people that have good credit, it's like they want to get a t-shirt made with their FICO score on there.
Yep, that's exactly. My dad's one of those people.
Okay. So do you have a big impact if you have a hiccup? Now, if I make one late payment and I've got a history of real good payments, is that going to have a major impact?
Yeah, I'd like to tell people that the higher your score is, the bigger fall you're going to experience when you do have one of those hiccups. So at some point, if you have multiple late payments, it doesn't have the same impact as that first one, which is why it's so important to make sure you're staying on top of your payment history. One of the biggest problems I see people make is not checking auto pay or not checking an annual fee that's been charged. And next thing you know, they're not paying a bill that they thought they were paying. And then they are stuck with that blemish, and it will drop your score 100 points overnight.
Wow. Okay. So that annual fee could be the tripping block. I want to talk more about that when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. You can reach me anytime off air, number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is, you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit RonSiegelRadio.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at RonIsMyLender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. RonIsMyLender.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Borrow Smart segment today being brought to you by RSRDebtFree.com, RSRDebtFree.com. Simple solution here, a simple discussion. If you can't pay off all of your unsecured debts in the next 2 months, RSRDebtFree.com. We may want to look at your blended household interest rate. Blended is not the same as your mortgage rate. It's what you're really paying to cover your household debt service. We want to talk about that. Maybe there's an opportunity to get those debts put away. If not, then maybe you need to go and talk about getting some negotiations done on your credit, on your items. And I'm not saying don't pay your bills because I'm not saying you shouldn't, because I know there are cases for bankruptcy that make sense, but there are options before you get there. Credit cards are charging now 29%, 30% interest. Maybe a negotiator can get that brought down to something a little bit more reasonable. RSRDebtFree.com, RSRDebtFree.com. Continue our conversation. Sarah Perkins is with us, Blue Water Credit, if you want to reach Sarah, go to rsrlinks.com/BWC. rsrlinks.com/BWC goes right to the Blue Water Credit website, and you can get a consultation there. They've been helping our listeners for years and years. We started doing this in 2010. So I'm getting a lot of help from our friends over at Blue Water Credit for our listeners. You ought to take advantage of it. And yes, I'm the first to admit you can do it on your own. Wrong. But you can do it. I mean, I see it comes across my feed because we do talk about credit so often. So on my social media feeds, I get some of these artificial intelligence things that say, just plug in your credit report, which you can get that, cleanall3.com. Plug that in, and they'll do the rest for you. They'll print out the letters and all this stuff. But Sarah, what happens if I dispute a bad item?
Well, you could be disputing first the wrong item. I've seen people where they go and dispute inquiries in hopes to gain a couple points by getting that inquiry removed, but they dispute an inquiry for a credit card they have active on their credit report. And next thing you know, yeah, you got that inquiry off, but you also had that good line of credit that got taken off because you claimed that the inquiry was fraud. So there's a lot of, methods on how to dispute accounts properly, what kind of statute you want to state. You don't want to just throw like fraud out on everything because most of the time it's going to come back and that account's going to stay.
There's a lot of laws out there that are legitimate that you can use to navigate through this process. Is that right?
Correct. And that's what at Blue Water Credit, our case managers are very well versed on all the different fair credit reporting laws that are out there. That's how they determine how to write the letters. It's very personalized. It's not just a templated system like an AI person might give you or that you might purchase off of a website.
I'm from what I've heard, a lot of the bureaus, they scan in the letters that they get. And if it's a template, they've probably seen it before.
Yeah, they're not going to even pay attention to those. And I'll tell people too that after about 5 or 6 tries of sending in letters on your own, they are definitely not even giving you a second glance at whatever dispute that you're raising. So then you kind of used up all your chances. And then when you come to us, where we probably could have developed, one letter that was personalized for that specific account and gotten it off for you, you've kind of used all your chances up.
So you've emptied the revolver, and now you're trying to find out how to fix it and bring in a professional who's can't get with their hands tied.
Yeah.
So let's talk about before the break, we were talking about the annual fees, and if I've got a card that has a annual fee, should I just be getting rid of that card and look for one that has no annual fee as my score gets better?
Well, part of a credit score is the length of the time that you've had your credit cards open. So if it's a card you've had open for a long time, you may just want to stick with paying that $59 annual fee because it's really helping balance off any new credit that you might open. Ideally, FICO wants to see your oldest card be 20 years old, and the average length that all of your cards have been open 6 years. So anytime you shut something down that's over that 6 years, you're in essence going to lower that average length that the card has been open. So you just need to make sure that you're remembering that annual fee comes each year. Maybe set it up on auto pay. But even with the auto pay, I tell people you need to go in and check that regularly. Maybe you're someone that puts it down for $100 a month. You want to pay more than the minimum, and then you run the card up and you don't realize now your minimum payment's gone up to $105. You see the debit coming out each month. You think you're paying that credit card bill, but in essence, you're missing $5 every month and then causing yourself to go 30-day late, 60-day late. And if you're not getting any alerts, then you can have your card charged off for just missing a $5 payment.
Wow. So just another reason to get into that habit that we share on our video, rsrccpayment.com. Go in every month and let, I keep again, I have no life, so I have a spreadsheet that has our credit cards, and it has the closing date for every card that we have. So, like every Wednesday, I go in and I look at the sheet and I say, okay, which cards are coming up next week? And I look at the balances, pay as much as I want, and then I've got the auto pay set for $50 every payment due date for like 3 or 4 days before the payment due date. So I know that I'm watching those balances. Also helps, and I don't know, do you do identity theft at Blue Water Credit?
Yeah, so we do identity theft cases. Is that what you're referring to? Like
Right.
if you have somebody, yeah. So we are lucky enough to be partnered with some great attorneys that have even got cash compensation back for victims of identity theft. So we will help them write the letters to the bureaus, have the theft affidavit notarized and sent in. And if they don't remove them after 30 days, our attorneys step in and have been super successful in getting those removed. And like I said, money back into our client's pocket at no additional costs.
Nice. And this, if you're going and you've got that habit of checking your cards, it doesn't take more than 10 minutes once a week. If you get that habit, you're going to find out if somebody's hacked one of your cards real quick and get that information over. Give us an idea, Sarah, because I know that one of the big bourbon companies, I don't ever use their name, but they got in trouble, and their deal was that they had a monthly fee, and they didn't really attack the entire credit report because they wanted to keep on grinding those monthly fees. Is that an industry standard, or how does Blue Water Credit work?
So we are a monthly fee, but we have to provide a service to be able to charge that monthly fee. So we always bill in arrears. We are always attacking all 3 bureaus, all accounts that we can at one time. So our goal is to get people out within 4 to 6 months. And like I mentioned, after 6 disputes, if the bureaus haven't changed anything, most likely they're not going to change anything in the future. So if you are with a company longer than 6 months and they're still trying to work on those same things, they're probably not doing you any kind of good service. The only time someone should go past 6 months is unfortunately if they have new stuff that pops up. But no, we're all about going in and attacking every single item as quickly as possible and getting you out of our program and into hopefully home ownership, as soon as possible.
Talk about the idea of where we need to be, because I think in the past I've had some clients that they've had that banner mentality that they want to have the ultra high score. And I've had some of the folks at Blue Water have said, hey, something, we've achieved our goal. Why do you want to keep fighting over this and spending money when you don't need to? Talk about that a little, Sarah.
Yeah. So, as a lender, you could probably attest to this. At a certain score, you're not going to get any more benefits as far as a lower interest rate or, better closing costs. So we're about getting you back to your lender, getting you in that loan. And then if you want to work on getting it improved for a refinance down the line, great. So again, our goal is communication with your lending team, finding out what the minimum requirements are, spend the least amount of money with us to get you to your goal. And then obviously, if you want to come back and just get that score up for general cleanup purposes, or like I said, to refinance down the line, hopefully when rates come back down, you're in a lot better position.
And that goes into one of our other videos that we have out there, rsr2step.com, rsr2step.com. So you can get with Sarah Perkins and our friends at Blue Water Credit and get to a bankable number. May not be the best number, but it'll be bankable. Go and do the cash out refi, the debt consolidation loan, and that's going to have a fee built into it for cash out. It's just the way the loan level price adjustments work that come out of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. But then you stay in the program with our friends at Blue Water Credit, get the scores improved because you've now paid off a lot of your debts. And when rates come down, as we forecast they will, you can refinance and get into a new loan. You'll save the money that you already built in the cash out cost. And you're going to save the money because of Blue Water getting you a better credit score. Is there any problem with staying in the program? Have you come across any problems? Do they note it on your credit report in any way that you're disputing things?
Well, if we are actively disputing items, they will not go in factoring into your score. So when you go back to your lender, we do have to make sure that we are removing those disputes. But if you're just working on your credit, there's no harm or foul to have those accounts in a dispute status while you're with us. It's just when you go to make that final pull and doing the new credit report that the lender has to do to make sure everything is out of dispute status at that time. And we walk our clients, step by step on how to do that.
Appreciate all your sharing of all your knowledge, Sarah. I know there's a lot more that we could talk about. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time, or we're out of time. But if you want more information on getting your credit cleaned up legally, not the fraudulent ways that some places are recommending, legally, accurately, efficiently, and I've seen over many years that they do the job, a really good job for the people that we send there, go to Blue Water Credit, rsrlinks.com/BWC, rsrlinks.com/BWC. Talk to Sarah and her team at Blue Water Credit. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.